It has been a long while since we heard any news about the Advanced Wars Reboot Camp, and so I thought I'd make a little video talking about everything that has happened so far and what my predictions are moving forward. As many of you know, the Advanced Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp was announced during a Nintendo Direct on June the 15th, 2021, and it was supposed to launch on December 3rd of the same year. The trailer caught a lot of people off guard, and I think my reaction to it speaks for itself.
No way! No way!
What?
No way! Oh my god!
Sadly, the excitement would not last. Just a couple months before the original release, Nintendo put out an official statement saying that the game simply wasn't ready and needed more polish. Thus, they delayed the game until April 8th, 2022. Then, a few months later, on February the 24th, 2022, Russia declared war on Ukraine, which garnered global outrage as everyone was fixated on the conflict. And this resulted in people having a very negative view on war as a whole, which is not good for a franchise with war in its name. This actually mirrors the release of the original Advanced Wars game back in 2001, which was delayed due to 9/11. This time around, however, things were a little bit different, as we did not get a new release date. The game was just put on indefinite hold, and they even refunded our pre-orders. They had no choice but to do this, of course, because Nintendo had no way of knowing how long the conflict would last. Between then and now, however, a lot of interesting things have happened. Around the 5th of December 2021, I got in touch with a person who claimed to have worked on developing the game, and he fed me a lot of interesting details about the game and its direction. Almost every single one of his claims was later verified when a second trailer dropped for the game, so if you're curious about that, you can check out this video for more. On the 13th of February 2022, a bunch of official CO artwork got leaked online, giving us a good view into the artistic direction of the game. Just like a lot of people had feared, the art style ended up being very childish and a little cartoony, with the men often having over-exaggerated muscles and jawlines and the women having very small defined waistlines. This was of course very predictable if you take a look at WayForward's defining flagship character Shantae. The reaction to this artwork was sort of mixed, but I'd say it was slightly tilted towards the negative side, with about 40% of my audience liking it and 60% of them disliking it. Myself, I was kinda neutral on it. I tended to really like the female designs, but many of the male ones I thought looked a little goofy and weird. After the artwork leak, several months of radio silence passed with no news from neither Nintendo or WayForward. But then something absolutely crazy happened. On the 10th of April 2022, a Twitter user by the name of Killateth had the game unlocked early on her Switch Lite, and she was able to access it. She posted several short clips on her Twitter account, which gave us some insight into the game, though people speculated that she had actually gotten access to an early alpha build of the game, since it looked quite unfinished in certain areas. Sadly, Killathed did not listen to the thousands of people telling her not to connect her Switch to the internet, and just a few days after she lost access to the game and it was removed from her library. A few weeks later, and most of her clips had also been taken down from Twitter. But luckily, I was able to download them all, and they're still available in a playlist on my channel if you are interested. And now we arrive to the present time. At the time of making this video, the war in Ukraine is sadly still ongoing, and we have yet to hear any official statement from Nintendo or WayForward about a potential release date. But a famous leaker known as Marco Maro, with a pretty solid track record of predicting past games, has set an estimated release date of around the new year. And currently there are rumors of a direct happening in September, so we might hear something then. So yeah, that's a bit of a summary of everything that has happened in regards to this game. Now I would like to move over to talk a little bit about the game itself, what it means for my channel, and how good I think it's going to be. Now, there is no easy way to say this, but all these delays have hurt the hype for this game by quite a bit. There is no doubt that the sales will be a lot lower as a result of all these events, especially when people had their pre-orders refunded. A lot of the people who had pre-ordered will probably not pre-order again, and that is going to show on the sales numbers. However, I still think a lot of people will be excited when this game eventually launches, because if there's one thing I have seen with my channel this year, it is that Advanced Wars content is still very popular, and that there's a lot of people out there yearning for more. My Advanced Wars videos gets a lot of traffic to this day, so this franchise still has some very solid and dedicated fans eagerly awaiting the release of this remake. But the question is, will it be any good when it arrives? Well, this is the part of the video where I will get a little negative, even though I don't want to be. I have been thinking a lot about this game for the past year. I've analyzed the leaks to death, and I have contemplated on this game's fate a lot. And sadly, I think WayForward was not the right choice of developer when it came to remastering this game. I say this based on the footage I have seen and based on their past record of games. Prior to making this video, I went through their entire game resume, and it's pretty much 90% side-scrollers and beat-em-ups. They do not have a lot of experience developing strategy games, and I think that a title like Advanced Wars should have been remastered by a game developer company with experience in that area, because that is what Advanced Wars is. It is a turn-based strategy game. Due to WayForward's inexperience when it comes to competitive multiplayer games, I think it's safe to say that we will not get any good online features such as a rating system, a league, and proper matchmaking. Nor do I think we will get good balanced multiplayer maps. And thanks to the leaks, we know that there will even be a heavy restriction on the maps we can upload ourselves. We cannot make them very big, and that's definitely going to hurt the competitive scene. I very much think that WayForward will make many of the same mistakes as Chucklefish did with Wargroove, in that they will probably have an automated quick match system that just randomly match you up against random opponents, with absolutely no regard for balance, and that is not something that's going to keep players engaged. I think that during the initial launch of the Reboot Camp, we will see a huge surge of players coming into the game, but sadly I expect a lot of those players to be gone within 6 months or so, unless Nintendo decide to patch in some multiplayer features to keep the competitive community strong. Despite this, I think we are in for a very fun time, and I personally plan to host a lot of tournaments and events where I will stream myself playing live against you guys, which I think will be a lot of fun. I also hope that they will eventually release an expansion pack for the Reboot Camp, where they add in Dual Strike, with their additional COs joining the fray. Now, as for how faithful this game will be to the originals, I have seen no indication that they plan to make sweeping changes. For all intents and purposes, this is going to be an extremely faithful remaster. We have seen slight changes to the prologue of Advanced Wars 1, with Nell activating her Lucky Star to teach the player about CO powers, something she never does in the original, and we have seen no indication that there's going to be a self-inserted character, so a lot of lines in the original game will have to be reworked as a result. But aside from that, it seems like the game is going to play exactly like its predecessors, but with updated graphics. Now, I say updated and not improved deliberately because I don't think these graphics are an improvement at all. In fact, I think they look downright hideous. The cartoony toy soldier art style they decided to take this game in is not flattering at all, and I personally struggled to tell the difference between the units on the minimap, which is not good for a strategy game. Despite all this, there is no doubt in my mind that this game will be extremely good for my channel, and I'm going to make a ton of videos about it, which I think you guys will find entertaining. One thing I am very much looking forward to once the game launches is to make detailed CO guides for every single CO in the game, and I have already begun working on the scripts since I know they won't be making many changes to them. Of course, I do have to play through the game to ensure that there are no changes before I release such guides, and I will need to gather footage from the game itself to make the guides presentable. I've also enlisted some help from some of the best players in the world over at Advanced Wars by Web, who will help me write the scripts and make sure there are no errors, and hopefully these guides should be helpful and informative for both beginners and pro players alike. Speaking of Advanced Wars by Web, I think they will probably experience a heavy influx of new players after the Reboot Camp launches as well. If the multiplayer features are as bad as I predict they will be, it might be that people will be looking to this website to meet their multiplayer needs, and as such, I hope the people running the site are prepared for some heavy traffic, because I think they're gonna see a big influx of new players. Now, before I wrap up this video, I will say that I know I sound a little negative about this game, but I really am looking forward to it, despite my fears. I think it's going to be a very exciting time for the Advanced Wars community, with tons of new people being introduced to this absolutely amazing franchise, which has kept me fascinated for well over 2 decades. And despite all the setbacks and delays, I do believe this remake will be a good thing for the franchise as a whole. And who knows, maybe we'll even get a brand new Wars game sometime in the future as a result of it. One can only dream. Anyway, that's all I have to say about the Reboot Camp for now. Will it be good? I sure hope so. I don't think it's going to be amazing, but I still think it's going to be an amazing time. So yeah, that's all I have to say about the Reboot Camp for now, but you can expect more videos whenever we get news or an eventual release date. If more leaks happen to find their way online, I will cover them as soon as I can. Like this video, comment below what you think about the game, and subscribe to be notified of any new videos I make on the topic. I usually try to get them out the same day. Anyway, my name is Mengs, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!